transmigrated to the Arctic as an ice keeper. On the first day, I found a polar bear cub and ended up having a dream while it nestled in my arms. The system suddenly prompted, "Thank you for taking care of the cub. You have been gifted a vegetable greenhouse cultivation base." Wow, this system was commissioned by the polar bear itself. Are all Arctic bears this refined? Even the job comes with benefits. My name is Leong Jun. 3 years after transmigrating to this parallel world, I volunteered and became the sole ice keeper of Arctic Base 1834. On the day the Shuilong research vessel departed, old Captain Yin held my hand tightly with his aged hand. "Xiaoyang, the new base is a mess with so much to be done. The next supply shipment won't arrive for 3 months. How will you survive these 3 months?" I stood at attention and saluted. "Captain Yin, rest assured, I guarantee I will complete the mission." Old Yin, with reddened eyes, left behind a batch of supplies. Living quarters, laboratory area, satellite receiving area, as well as piles of potatoes and a batch of vegetable seeds that wouldn't sprout. He also added a radio-controlled military drone and a military smartwatch. "What do you need all these for?" I grinned. "To live stream, of course. Since I'm alone anyway, I might as well start a live stream to kill time." The icebreaker, Shuilong, gradually disappeared at the edge of the ice field, the north wind howling, leaving only me in this vast world. I touched the badge on my chest, number 3713, my father's code. He once guarded the nation's Arctic base with his life. Now it's my turn. On the deck, 15 scientific expedition members gazed at me from afar, saluting in unison a tribute to the nation's ice guardian. The red flag fluttered in the wind. My nose stung. The ship was gone. I crouched by the base entrance, the wind at dozens of degrees below zero, cutting like a knife. Just as I was spacing out, a snow pile not far away suddenly shifted. I tensed up instantly, unarmed. If a polar bear really popped out, I'd have no one to argue with. Step by step, I moved closer. I saw sharp claws. My heart was in my throat. In my mind, I was already figuring out how to throw a punch. But then from behind the snow pile, a small, shiny black nose tip poked out. I scooped up that little white, fluffy thing in one go. We locked eyes. It was a polar bear cub weighing less than 2 pounds, round and plump, like an oversized plush toy. The little guy tilted his head to look at me, letting out a tiny sound that melted my heart. I picked him up by the scruff and shook him gently. The little thing paddled the air with his stubby legs, unable to reach me. Finally, he grumbled angrily, opened his mouth, and started gnawing on the buttons of my sleeve. He sucked on the buttons for a while, getting nothing out of it, and looked incredibly adorable. But I immediately tensed up. Where there's a cub, there's a mother. I quickly glanced around, terrified that a mother bear might come charging out, treating me like a kidnapper. Strangely, everything around was a vast white expanse. Nothing except wind and snow. What kind of irresponsible mother leaves her cub in the snow? The little guy was shivering and burrowed into my arms. I had no choice but to wrap him in my coat and bring him back to the cabin. Among the supplies old Yin left behind, there was goat milk powder. While I was boiling snow water to prepare the milk, the little thing poked his fuzzy head out of my collar, a warm, soft bundle pressed against my chest. Soon, he curled up into a ball, smacking his lips as he fell asleep. I was just about to rub his head. A mechanical voice suddenly echoed in my mind. The little white bear was sleeping soundly, expressing love for you in its dream +1, affinity +10. The little white bear felt it had found a family, expressing love for you +2, affinity +20, and commissioned the system to gift an animal favorability binding package. What's going on? Immediately after, a list of gift packages unfolded in my mind. Ocean fishing rod, high-grade windproof and cold-proof clothing, special Arctic thermal boots, electric kettle, induction pot, induction stove, and a basic cultivation base for a vegetable greenhouse. I swallowed hard. Words like "no need for a system" were nothing in the face of survival supplies. Except a warm current surged through my limbs and bones. Those supplies appeared out of thin air in the warehouse, filling the empty shelves to the brim. My heart felt at ease, as if I had a treasure trove. After settling the little one, I opened a military drone and watch, connected to the live stream, and typed the room name, "A Day with Me and My Polar Bear." Just started streaming quiet as normal. But this time, within a minute, over 20 people flooded in, and the bullet comments scrolled by rapidly. "Where's the polar bear? I'm here to see the bear. Asking for the bear, I adjust the lens, aiming at the little white bear sleeping sprawled out in my arms. Its legs are kicking, drool hanging from the corner of its mouth, smacking its lips, dreaming some sweet dream. The live stream room instantly explodes. Oh my god, this is so healing. What kind of fairy place is this? Can I get a hit of it? Some people question it's a fake set, saying I'm raising a Samoyed pretending to be a polar bear. A few digital IDs keep stirring things up. I don't waste words. Holding the little white bear, I push open the base door. The north wind carries snow pellets whipping into my face. In the lens, above the endless ice field, the dazzling northern lights flow like colorful silk ribbons across the night sky. Red, blue, green, purple lights intertwine and shift, so beautiful it doesn't seem of this world. I stand under the aurora, feet on the ancient ice field, smiling at the camera. Welcome to the Arctic Outdoor Livestream. The barrage freezes for a moment, then scrolls like crazy. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. This is real. Followed. Does the streamer still need a girlfriend? I don't mean anything else. Just want to come watch the aurora and feed the bear. I promptly kicked the troublemaking digital ID out of the livestream room. Yeah, I'm that petty. Back inside, I grabbed the last can of beer from the fridge and chugged it down. The viewers were dumbfounded. There are fridges in the Arctic? I burped and calmly explained, it's too cold outside, so I use the fridge to keep things warm. At 4 degrees Celsius, it's much warmer than out there. The barrage of comments turned into a sea of ellipsis dots, followed by rows of follow clicks. The little guy woke up, stretching in my arms, its tiny pink mouth opening into a big yawn. I put it down to prepare some milk formula, and it frantically climbed up my pant leg. When saw me tearing open the formula bag, it dove headfirst into it. Its round head got stuck inside the bag, flipping it upside down like a headless chicken. Its short legs flailed in the air as it struggled, unable to get out no matter what. The comments went wild. Polar bear? Thanks, streamer. I totally could have gotten out on my own. Shao bye-bye. Do you need legal aid? LOL. I tried pulling out a few times, but it only got stuck tighter. Finally, it gave a mighty yank, and with a pop, its head popped out. Her whole face was caked with milk powder, like a dough ball covered in bran. She shook her head vigorously and let out a loud sneeze. Achoo. It was unbearably cute. I fed her goat's milk with a spoon. She'd never seen a spoon before, so she bit down with a snap. The metal spoon bent, and the live stream exploded again. She only weighed 2 Gene and hadn't even grown her teeth yet, but she could already bend a spoon. What would happen when she grew up? I quickly corrected her. Little white, this is how you eat. Pucker your lips like this, ah. The little one tilted her head and watched me, then actually started imitating, pursing her lips into a perfect round O shape. Ah. I gently poured a spoonful of goat's milk into her mouth. She smacked her lips, her eyes lighting up as she tasted it. Eagerly, she puckered her lips again. A mouthful after mouthful, spoonful after spoonful. Outside the window, the north wind howled. Inside the room, one person and one bear huddled together in front of the little sun heater. The scene was heartwarmingly cozy. After eating and drinking his fill, the little white bear patted his belly and licked his fur. The mechanical voice in his head went off again. The little white bear patted his belly, gave you a thumbs up, and your affinity increased by 20. The little white bear expressed that he loves you very much and asked the system to tell you that next time he wants to drink milk from a bowl again. The little white bear asked the system to gift you the Arctic fruit and vegetable cultivation skill and a cultivation kit. A stream of experience and knowledge flooded into your mind. The knowledge about growing fruits and vegetables in the polar region pieced together like a jigsaw, forming a complete skill system. Growing vegetables in the Arctic is as hard as reaching the sky extreme cold, long polar nights, and barren soil. Even top experts from the Chinese Academy of Agricultural Sciences had never succeeded. The vegetables brought by the scientific expedition team quickly dehydrated and shriveled, with very little edible parts. Long-term vitamin deficiency would inevitably lead to mouth ulcers and even scurvy. I rubbed the little guy's head. You've given me a huge gift. He nuzzled against my palm affectionately, squinting his eyes and letting out a satisfied ah. It was late at night, so I opened a can of frozen meat. I brewed a bowl of braised beef noodles, sat at the wooden table, and slurped them down noisily, a mouthful of hot noodles, a bite of frozen meat, while the aurora danced beyond the window. The little white bear cub at my feet was rolling around, clinging to my pant leg and having a blast. I looked down to see the little guy using my trousers as a climbing frame, scrambling all the way up until he was firmly draped around my neck. Fluffy and warm, like a living white fur collar. I couldn't help but smile wryly. If your mom sees this, how am I going to explain? It didn't care at all. It found the comfiest spot, buried its face against me, and settled in peacefully. Outside, amidst the wind and snow, there was still no sign of the mother bear. I waved at the camera. All right, folks, that's it for today. See you tomorrow. The barrage of comments was a flood of sobs. Don't log off. We want to see the white fur collar. Just $5 more worth. But I decisively ended the live stream. I knew netizens would lose sleep over it, settling the little critter that refused to leave my neck. I headed to the base's multi-purpose area. It was originally empty, with nothing but white walls and cold air. I found a beginner's gift pack in the storage area. When I opened the vegetable greenhouse basic cultivation base, it unfolded as if it had been folded up and suddenly expanded. It spread out across the vast multifunctional area, expanding, expanding, and expanding again. The spectacular and magnificent changes filled Liang-jun with both delight and astonishment. After opening, the vegetable greenhouse basic cultivation base became a greenhouse lab covering only 16 square meters. However, small as it was, it had everything needed. The greenhouse garden was packed with high-tech features. There were 6 automatic fertilizer and nutrient spray nozzles, a water change system, an electronically controlled constant temperature system, an LED light assist system, and a main control computer for regulation. Liang-jun excitedly turned on the main control computer. It was filled with installation instructions. Skills for growing Arctic fruits and vegetables poured into his mind, along with experience in planting under harsh conditions. A mysterious sensation made every part of his body feel unblocked and smooth. Excited, Liang-jun hurried to the storage area to check the vegetable seeds left by Yin Lao. Before leaving, Yin Lao had told him, "These seeds cannot be planted if you're truly hungry. Just stew and eat them." The scientific expedition team had tried planting vegetable seeds before, but they failed to sprout. Now, hope kindled in Liang-jun's heart. He wanted to attempt growing vegetables in the Arctic. He began soilless cultivation, pairing specific vegetables with specific nutrient solutions. Light exposure time set. Irrigation rates set. Soft music playing 24 hours a day. In the 16-square-meter greenhouse lab, 5-tier hydroponic trays for vegetables and fruits were set up, filled with specific nutrient solutions. Gentle music played softly, automatic nutrient spray nozzles were ready, and a water exchange system was timed to activate. The electronically controlled constant temperature system started. The LED lighting system activated. Liang-jun looked at the fully stocked vegetable and fruit cultivation shed, feeling a heavy but satisfying fullness in his heart. He gently rubbed the little white bear nestled around his neck and said softly, "This will be the first vegetable and fruit cultivation shed in the Arctic." He eagerly looked forward to the day he could eat fresh vegetables and fruits. This will be a major breakthrough for the Arctic North Pole Research Base. In the brick and tile hut, it was quiet except for the hum of the small electric heater. Liang-jun sat at the wooden table by the window and began to write the ice keeper's log. April 4th, sunny weather. Today is my first day arriving at Arctic Research Station number 1834. An Arctic mascot followed me. The little guy is silly. I named it Xiaobai. Later, I'll find a female polar bear for Xiaobai and release it. The dim light bulb cast shadows on Liang-jun's profile. He recorded the log meticulously while Xiaobai lay curled up in his arms, sleeping warmly. As Liang-jun wrote in the log, he glanced down at it. Everything seemed so peaceful and healing. Tomorrow, I will follow the research plan to collect ice cores. After retrieving the ice cores, I will process the samples the same day. I need to use a centrifuge to analyze and remove salts, cut the ice core slices, and measure ice density. This is also the daily routine of guarding the ice as instructed by Elder Yin. The daily routine of an Arctic ice guardian involves monitoring changes in the polar geography, with the analysis and processing of ice core slices being the most common task. After logging his notes, Liang-jun turned all 3 small solar-powered heaters toward the sleeping cot. The heaters oscillated, spreading warmth evenly. This was the only measure to keep warm and survive in the 40°C freezing weather. Liang-jun lay on the cot, wrapped tighter in his sleeping bag, but he still felt cold. With a rustle, he grabbed 3 more thick quilts, piling on every blanket the expedition team could find. But still, he was cold. Liang Jun shivered uncontrollably in the dead of night. His ears were filled with the howling wind outside. The cold and loneliness crept into his heart in the deep hours. Unable to sleep, he buried his head in the sleeping bag, but the chill didn't fade. He tossed and turned, still unable to fall asleep. Then Liang Jun reached under the cot, grabbed the little white bear, and curled up with the fluffy bundle, both of them squeezing into the thermal sleeping bag. The little white bear was soft and warm, not minding all being used as a pillow by Liang Jun. It even comfortably opened its fleshy mouth and let out a big yawn. Liang Jun buried his face into the little white bear's soft belly, finally feeling drowsy and sleepy. His body no longer felt cold. The little white bear expressed that it also loves you very much and entrusted the system to tell you, if you can't sleep, just snuggle up and you'll fall asleep. Liang Jun felt warm inside. Little one, since you're throwing yourself into my arms, I won't be polite. Liang Jun buried his face even deeper into the little white bear's belly. So warm and soft. Early the next morning, Liang Jun opened his bleary eyes and felt his stomach heavy and numb. The little one had woken up at some point, lying on his belly, tilting its head thoughtfully as it looked at him. The little white bear didn't make a fuss when it woke up. It just quietly watched over him, as if it were watching over its mother polar bear in the wild. Liang Jun left silently. He rubbed the little white bear's fluffy face and pinched its cheeks. The flesh felt soft and plump. It's too heavy. Little one, if you don't get up, my stomach will go numb. The little white bear then joyfully looked up and cheered, rubbing its face against Liang Jun's palm in surprise. Ayo, the sun is burning my butt. Lazybones finally got up. Liang Jun turned on the live stream. As soon as he started broadcasting, he found a dozen fans flooding in. He couldn't help but wonder, don't these fans sleep? They just hang around the live stream entrance all the time. Liang Jun launched the live streaming drone and then began his routine washing up. After washing up, he put on the thickest extreme cold windproof and thermal clothing, a heavy hat and goggles, and walked to the flagpole of the Arctic base. According to routine, he had to hold a flag-raising ceremony on behalf of the number 1834 Eastern Arctic Scientific Research Base. There were very few people for the flag raising, but not a single step of the flag-raising ceremony was omitted. Liang Jun pressed the base's broadcast system, and the stirring national anthem rang out. With a solemn and serious expression, he raised the red flag, saluting it with a fixed gaze as he began the flag-raising ceremony. The bright red flag slowly rose. At this moment, the atmosphere at Eastern Scientific Research Base 1834 was utterly solemn. The little white bear watched Liang Jun's earnest and serious movements, and the cub's expression also turned serious, no longer acting cute or throwing tantrum. It obediently straightened up, lifted its furry little face, and gazed at the rising red flag, paying it a salute. This scene was seen by more and more fans flooding into the live stream. The fans were extremely excited. In the desolate, uninhabited, far northern region, a lone wanderer stands guard over the ice for the country. At that moment, the scientific research flag fluttered in the wind, and a touch of eastern red stirred everyone's hearts. Thank you, lonely ice guardian. After raising the flag, Liang Jun prepared his equipment to set out. He turned around and saw the little white ball of fur still standing upright under the flagpole. Liang Jun found it amusing inside. Little white, can you also salute? The little white bear couldn't salute, but it mimicked Liang Jun's flag-raising pose, propping up its hind legs and struggling to stand upright. However, it couldn't yet control its center of gravity. Its short hind legs wobbled back and forth. After standing for just 2 seconds, it wobbled and plopped into a big butt sit. The little white bear looked very aggrieved and a bit confused. All the comment section fans were rolling with laughter. Will Little White also participate in the flag-raising ceremony? The polar bear, following our streamer, is now our country's bear. The little guy is quite patriotic. By the way, is it okay for the giant pandas to hear this? As national treasures, they haven't learned to raise the flag yet. Above, how do you know giant pandas can't raise the flag? If the streamer raised a giant panda, both bears would definitely learn to raise the flag. 2 flag bears, that vibe is real. So cute, haha. Fans, just waking up, couldn't wait to open a live stream. Indeed, they weren't disappointed. They were healed early in the morning by the little fur ball and the ice guardian in the stream. Watching the adorable polar bear in the Arctic join the flag-raising ceremony is so stress-relieving. After the flag-raising ceremony, Liang Jun packed his gear and decided to take the little white bear along to collect ice cores. The daily routine of the Arctic base includes drilling to collect ice cores. Collecting ice cores is mainly to obtain climate change data by analyzing precipitation information in the ice cores. The isotopes in the precipitation contain gases and dust, so they contain various indicators of climate change. Liang Jun considered bringing the little white bear along to search for the mother polar bear's tracks along the way. After all, humans cannot replace a mother polar bear. He is just an ice-keeping intern, not a zookeeper. Little white, let's go outside for a walk. If we run into your mom, you should go with her, but tell her not to eat me. Okay? Liang Jun lifted the little white bear by the scruff of its neck and earnestly negotiated with it. But the little guy couldn't understand what Liang Jun was saying. It sucked on Liang Jun's finger and refused to let go. Liang Jun didn't know whether to laugh or cry. You're hungry again? All right, let's both have a couple of servings of goat milk powder, and then we'll head out to collect ice cores. Along the way, I'll look for your mom. If we don't find her, we might run into a herd of reindeer. We can hunt one to change our diet. Liang Jun carried the heavy ice extraction equipment on his back, along with a self-made bow and arrows. The bow and arrows were left to him by Grandpa Yin, who said the expedition team's meat rations were only frozen canned meat with a very tough texture. It would be wonderful if he could hunt some game. Thus, Liang Jun, lugging a heavy outdoor backpack, dragging the ice extraction equipment case, and with a bow and arrows slung over his back, led little white bear toward the area for extracting ice cores. Whoosh, whoosh, the ice fields stretched endlessly, with nothing but blinding snow and a vast, unending plain. These glaciers had stood here for hundreds of millions of years. In comparison, humans were no more than a drop in the ocean. In the distance, the majestic icebergs were magnificent, compelling one to marvel at nature's incredible craftsmanship and feel a deep reverence for it. The stunning, lonely beauty of the ice field captivated the live stream viewers. Before long, the number of viewers in the live stream surged. The count exceeded 500 people. Liang Jun looked down at his visible military watch. The number of followers had already exceeded 500, which was more than 10 times the count from yesterday. Nice, at this rate, he'll soon be a small-time internet celebrity. Liang Jun rubbed the little white bear's round head. Little white, do you think the fans are here for you or for me? This remark amused the fans. Streamer, don't get your hopes up, of course. We're here to see the polar bear. Who could resist a soft, fluffy polar bear cub? Streamer, please point the camera more at Little White. We want to see Little White. Yeah, if Little White would favor us with an we'd be full of energy all day. The netizens started joking and even made requests. Liang Jun, not one to indulge them, said leisurely. If I let out an would you guys feel energized too? An from Liang Jun, an from Little White Bear. Completely different. Netizens saw a rugged guy on camera say, My bros, I'm an now. Their expressions suddenly froze in awkwardness. While this, even though it's the same something seems off somehow. But the streamer is so humorous and witty, no wonder this is a healing and distressing live stream. Their worries of the day vanish into thin air. Liang Jun chatted and joked with the netizens while hurrying to the ice core sampling site. The ice core sampling site was a full kilometer away from research base number 1834. Don't think 1 kilometer in the city is easy. It takes just 15 minutes to walk. But 1 kilometer on the ice sheet is real. You have to detour around dangerous sections, push forward against the howling wind while carrying heavy loads, and stay alert for any unexpected situations. It took Liang Jun a full hour and a half to reach the ice core sampling site 1 kilometer away. Whoosh! Liang Jun put the 50-kilogram outdoor backpack on the ground and muttered a curse with a laugh. Damn, this is too heavy. His outdoor backpack weighed 50 kilograms, and the mechanical toolbox he dragged was even heavier. The two together weighed more than he did. The 2 bags plus the heavy protective suit made Liang Jun exclaim that he couldn't take it anymore. Liang Jun looked down at Little White Bear, who was completely carefree, and a look of envy filled his eyes. Little White, you don't have to carry anything, so you walk light and easy. When you grow up, If you still haven't found your mom, you can pull a sled for me. Before Liang Jun even finished speaking, the livestream viewers were already jumping in anger. No employing child labor. The comment section was flooded with messages. The little white bear, only about a month old, had already been eyed by Liang Jun to be used as child labor. The netizens, calling themselves online dads and moms, clenched their fists in indignation, pleading for the little one. But the little white bear seemed quite willing and was even enjoying it. The little white bear wiggled its round body, crawled slowly, and actually stuck its head into the mechanical pull rod suitcase, pressing its chest tightly against the rod and starting to exert force. Pull. Eavo. Pullard. The little white bear used all its newborn strength, exerting so hard that 2 strands of fur fell from its forehead, but the suitcase didn't budge. The little white bear was stunned. It looked a bit dejected, licked its paw pads, and looked up at Liang Jun with a pitiful expression. It was too small to be of any use. A pitiful whimper. The little one's cry made Liang Jun's heart melt. The live stream viewers also felt their hearts soften. No child labor allowed. Streamer. Will send gifts if you pull the sled yourself. Sasuke, who loves spicy pasta, gifted an airplane 1, saying, make the streamer do the work himself. Black and White Roses gifted an airplane 2, saying, the icy tundra is cold on the paws. If you carry little white on your back, I'll double the gifts. Illusion of Fate gifted Flaming Lips 99, saying, a qualified streamer knows how to beg for gifts. A stream of gifts flooded the comment area, drowning it out. Liang Jun was stunned. In his past self-media days, he had never seen so many gifts, usually only a few free ones in the first month of streaming. But now, without him doing anything, gifts were raining down like crazy. Awesome. The fans sent gifts just to tell him not to make the little white bear work. Liang Jun didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He was only joking. How could a baby white bear pull a sled? Of course, if little white grows into an adult polar bear weighing several tons, not only could it pull a sled, but he could sit on its thick back and it would carry him too. Liang Jun stared thoughtfully at the little polar bear. Then the corners of his mouth couldn't help but rise wildly. Being able to use an adult polar bear as a mount. Sounds really awesome. Little thing, you have to grow well. The little polar bear looked up in confusion, just meeting Liang Jun's evil grin. Its chubby head tilted blankly to one side. The barrage comments section netizens gave gifts even more enthusiastically. That bastard streamer is indeed starting to have ideas of exploiting child labor. The streamer is full of malicious tricks. Liang Jun began to use a thermal drill to extract ice cores. The ice drilling tools for Arctic scientific research are divided into thermal drills and cold drills, but Liang Jun thought thermal drills were more suitable. First, thermal drills are faster. Second, the noise of thermal drills is lower than that of cold drills. Blizzards in the Arctic come at any time, and next to the glacier is a large snowy mountain. If too much noise is made, it can easily cause an avalanche disaster. That's why he didn't bring a shotgun. The sound of shotgun bullets is too loud. If the snow collapses, it could affect several kilometers, trigger chain disasters, and impact the base. So it would be best to complete the ice core extraction with the quietest sound possible. Liang Jun changed to a different pair of protective goggles, using heat drill-specific isolation goggles. He started drilling the glacier with a thermal drill. Time passed by little. Drilling for ice cores is both a technical task and a patient, meticulous one. If the drilling goes fast, the task can be completed in 20 minutes. If it encounters difficult underground ice layers, it might take a long time. Fortunately, today's work went smoothly. Liang Jun retrieved a complete, high-quality ice core. He measured, recorded, sealed, and labeled it on site, then placed the ice core in a preservation cabinet, planning to drag the cabinet and toolbox back to the base later. He looked around and noticed. The little white bear was gone. Brothers, did any of you just notice that polar bear next to me? Liang Jun wanted to check the live stream recording. The military drone above his head was capturing wide-angle footage of the ice field ahead. Soon, a sharp-eyed netizen said. Just now, while the streamer was focused on drilling the ice, a deer without antlers walked by. Liang Jun was wondering what a deer without antlers was. He looked down and found 2 sets of footprints on the ice field. One set was the plum-shaped paw prints of the little white bear. The other set looked like hoof prints. It should be some kind of even-toed ungulate. There are plenty of Arctic wildlife species: grizzly bears, Arctic foxes, Arctic wolves, Arctic hares, beluga whales, seals, walruses, Arctic water shrews, and even more cold-tolerant, even-toed ungulates. Whose hoofprints could these be? Liang Jun set up a temporary waterproof tent at the ice core extraction site, placing the freezer and tool case inside to protect them from a storm, then followed the footprints. As he walked, he muttered to himself, "Polar bear cubs are just playful curious about everything and love to run after things." That's probably how the little white bear got separated from its mother. Where exactly is the mother polar bear? Liang Jun figured the little white bear must have gotten playful and followed the hoofed animal until it disappeared from sight. He opened the recorded video from his military drone, looking in the direction the little one had gone. In the footage, the little white bear was indeed following a hornless deer, walking away without looking back, completely focused. Liang Jun cursed with a laugh. So this is how the little guy got lost. Lost from the mother polar bear, and now lost again the moment it's back with me. He decided to teach the little white bear a lesson to make sure the cub knew it was dangerous to casually follow strangers, even if they were strange animals. Though polar bears are ferocious, the cub was still a naive infant. Hoofed animals traveled in herds, and if one turned around and gave a headbutt, the little white bear would be in trouble. But once Liang Jun got a clear look at the hoofed animal in the footage, he chuckled to himself and stopped worrying. Well, he actually stumbled upon a wild, foolish roe deer. The fans in the live chat still didn't know what a hoofed animal was. They grew increasingly agitated at Liang Jun's unhurried demeanor. "Streamer, hurry up and follow. Our little Bai is so small and weak. What if it gets trampled by the deer? I'm little Bai's cloud dad. I'm a cloud mom. I want to virtually raise a polar bear and watch little Bai grow up." But no matter how anxious the viewers were, Liang Jun remained unhurried, standing still and even started whistling. A leisurely whistle echoed across the vast ice field. Liang Jun was in a good mood, whistling and tapping his foot to the beat. This made the viewers even more anxious. "I'll send 10 planes. Please, streamer, go check it out quickly. I'll send a rocket. Please, streamer, you win. It's just gifts. Here you go. Now get over there and look." A flurry of gifts flew across the comment section. Received a plane X1. Receive a rocket X1. Receive an egg rocket X2. On the streaming platform, a plane costs 100 yuan and a rocket costs 500 yuan. These are considered very expensive gifts. Now, Liang Jun wasn't asking for any gifts at all, yet the comment section was flooded with layers upon layers of airplanes and rockets, drowning out the chat. A truly spectacular sight. The streamer who came over from next door was dumbfounded. She was a major streamer with a fan base of 200,000, but she had never seen such a massive barrage of airplane and rocket gifts. It was as if they were bombarding the live stream room. What surprised her even more was that Liang Jun, in his live stream, didn't say a single word like, "Brothers, please send gifts." He didn't say anything like that. He just calmly whistled and tapped out a beat, and countless gifts came pouring in. The big streamer was so envious she could cry. Was Liang Jun really just a new streamer? Did he really only have 500 followers? Yet the gifts from these 500 followers could crush the gifts on her 200,000 follower popular account. How could the gap between people be so huge? Liang Jun was still standing on the ice field, whistling and tapping a beat. His expression was calm and unruffled. The barrage comments were exploding, but he remained as unhurried as if taking a stroll. Unexpectedly, in the drone footage, the hornless deer on the distant ice sheet suddenly stopped and looked back curiously. The snow roe deer started walking back. The silly roe deer hadn't spotted the little white ball behind the snowdrift. The little white bear was hiding well, crouching behind the snowdrift to observe it, its white fur blending with the ice and snow. The silly roe deer, curious, followed the sound of the whistle back, and the little white bear quietly followed it back. The silly roe deer, with white fur fluffing from its rump, trotted back to the spot to see what was happening. Why are there strange noises all along? Suddenly, the silly roe deer saw Liang Jun, who was tall and burly. Liang Jun strode forward and let out a loud roar. The silly roe deer, terrified, buried its head in the snow. The air was silent. The roe deer stuck its head into the snowdrift. The frame freezes. The netizens' expressions were absolutely priceless. They had never seen such a stupidly cute wild deer. It was a deer, but had no antlers on its head. Wild. It was even dumber than zoo animals raised in captivity. Liang Jun was about to hunt it, so why did it suddenly bury its head in a snow pile? This was practically a ready-made game animal. Fans were disappointed by its misfortune and angry at its lack of fight. Liang Jun easily walked up and looped a rope around the silly moose's neck. He caught a live deer kebab. Because the capture was too easy, Liang Jun wanted to look regretful, but he couldn't stop the corners of his mouth from turning up. He broke into a wild grin and couldn't help laughing out loud. My bad, folks. This deer kebab came too easily, huh? The Arctic Research Base had never encountered a wild road deer before. Although Elder Yan's team had homemade bows, arrows, and spears, they had never caught any wild animal, let alone a live one. Catching a wild animal alive was a pipe dream. But as luck would have it, Liang Jun caught him red-handed. What damn terrible luck. The little white bear was also extremely excited. The little guy affectionately rubbed against Liang Jun's pant leg, acting spoiled as if asking for credit, its round black eyes brimming with smugness. Seeing that Liang Jun wasn't responding, the little white bear sat upright, perfectly composed, its bright round eyes fixed on Liang Jun, as if it was just short of wagging its tail and panting. But polar bears have such short tails that they can't wag them. Liang Jun looked at the little white bear's expression, mulled it over, and then it dawned on him. Little white, are you afraid I'll go hungry? So you wanted to snag some meat for me while I was working? Then Liang Jun suddenly remembered that yesterday, while eating frozen meat cans with instant noodles, he had complained. His complaint was, frozen meat is so tough. I'd be completely satisfied if I could eat some fresh barbecue. Unexpectedly, the little white bear took these words to heart and tried to hunt for him while he was focused on his work. This gesture moved Liang Jun, and he felt deeply touched. The little white bear happily stood up on its short hind legs and spun around in a circle, as if to say, that's right. See how awesome I am? I can even hunt together. Hurry up and praise me. The livestream fans couldn't help but feel envious, their eyes turning red. What a filial polar bear. My virtually raised little white is so dutiful, he's truly a good child. Suddenly envious of pets. Comparing pets drives me crazy. I gave my husky, who wrecks the house, a good scolding, and then it whimpered at me as if it was wronged. I picked up my British Shorthair and showed it the live stream. It told me this was staged. My calico cat said, fake news next. The live stream room was filled with a cheerful atmosphere. Fans watched the relaxing and stress-relieving polar daily life, feeling their hearts healed. They also wished they could adopt such a well-behaved polar bear. Liang Jun picked up the little white bear from the ice field, lovingly blew the snowflakes off its face, and rubbed its fluffy head with his broad, gentle hand. The little white bear thoroughly enjoyed the warmth of the hand caressing it, squinting comfortably, opening its mouth, and tilting its head to chirp softly. The little white bear really likes your touch. It shows affection for you +1 affinity +10. The little white bear feels very proud and senses that it has helped you. It shows affection for you +2 affinity +20 and entrusts the system to give you an animal favorability binding pack. A mechanical sound suddenly echoed in Liang Jun's mind. He was slightly taken aback, feeling pleasantly surprised inside. Increasing animal favorability can earn you a gift pack. Awesome. So the little white bear was tracking the wild road deer to find meat for him. He had thought the little white bear was just playing around. He had really wronged it. It turned out the little guy was doing it so he could have meat to eat. Liang Jun hugged the little white bear tighter in his arms and gently pinched its chubby cheeks. I misunderstood you. You're the best polar bear. Little white bear's eyes lit up with surprise, its round black eyes sparkling. It suddenly burrowed into Liang Jun's arms, happily snuggling and acting cute, refusing to come out no matter what. Liang Jun silently thought to himself, open the Animal Affinity gift pack. He was very curious. What would be in the Affinity gift pack this time? It was like a mystery box, sparking anticipation in his heart. Opening the Animal Affinity Bond gift pack for the host. Congratulations, host. You have received 2 kilograms of fresh reindeer meat, 2 kilograms of donkey meat, and 10 servings of hydroponic fruit and vegetable nutrient solution. The supplies have been sent to the host's designated base storage room. Keep up the good work. Liang Jun was ecstatic inside. This was a supply drop from heaven, and the Affinity gift pack gave him exactly what he needed most: fresh meat. Awesome, so awesome. Liang Jun Thinking of the tender, juicy roasted venison dripping with oil, felt an urgent desire to return home. He wanted to hurry back to the research base, set up the reindeer and donkey meat from the storage room to roast, and then eat until he lost all sense of time. He was tired of eating frozen meat cans. Liang Jun hugged the little white bear, excited and surprised, but then he looked at the pitiful, dumb moose beside him. The moose turned its head and stared back at him. As soon as the moose's eyes met Liang Jun's, it quickly buried its head in the snow, trembling, too scared to peek out. Liang Jun was amused. The livestream viewers were also amused, as expected of the legendary stupid moose. I heard the stupid moose is incredibly curious. How has such a cute, dumb animal managed to survive until now without going extinct? It's amazing. Liang Jun figured that since he had enough fresh meat now, and if the animal affinity system kept working, he could continuously get meat supplies from the mystery boxes. So the small deer meat skewer in front of him didn't matter much. Liang Jun removed the hemp rope from around the roe deer's neck and kicked it on the rump. Go on before I change my mind. He released the silly roe deer. The fans in the live chat gasped, showing expressions of disbelief. Liang Jun had referred to the roe deer as little deer meat skewer. Subconsciously, he'd already considered the roe deer as emergency food, yet now he released it without hesitation. Isn't it a waste? An unexpected scene unfolded for the fans. Liang Jun hadn't thought that this silly roe deer in front of him, after running off with a clatter, would stand blankly on the distant ice field as if it had lost its memory, then look around in confusion. Finally, the silly roe deer seemed to regain its memory, but with an even dumber expression, it actually came sneaking back with a clatter, standing not far away to watch Liang Jun. The silly roe deer tilted its head and leaned in to look. A flood of ellipses flew across the live chat. Liang Jun was also left speechless inside. It's a miracle of nature that goofy moose like this even survived to this day. Since the little deer kebabs are here, I guess I can't be blamed for being impolite. Liang Jun let out a loud cry and suddenly dashed forward in a single stride. As expected, the goofy moose once again made a frightened move, burying its head in the snow as if no one could see it. Tiet, Liang Yunya. Liang Jun felt that if he didn't catch this goofy moose today, he'd be letting down the heavens, the earth, and his ridiculously good luck. He shouted, "Here we go." He had never seen such a foolish wild animal in his life. Liang Jun grabbed the goofy moose and hauled it away. With the little white bear in his arms and the goofy moose by the neck, he returned to the temporary tent where the ice cores were taken. Liang Jun used a thick cowhide strap as a rope, and following the knot pattern of sled dog harness, he tied the cowhide strap around the goofy moose's front legs and neck. The cowhide strap fit like a thick cowhide vest, slipping over the goofy moose's front legs and wrapping around part of its neck and back. Liang Jun threaded a hemp rope through the perforations of the leather vest, and a decent deer harness was ready. He opened the waterproof outdoor bag and locked the folding wooden board and hemp rope together. With the deer harness, hemp rope, and wooden board, Liang Jun made a simple snow-pulling sled in the shortest possible time. If paired with 6 huskies, it would make proper sled dog equipment. The roe deer sled equipment was complete. The fans in the live stream watched with great interest. They had never seen anyone make sled equipment with bare hands. It was an eye-opener for them. Liang Jun packed up the temporary tent, locked the mechanical lever set onto the sled board, and then, holding Little White Bear, sat down on the sled. In the air, Liang Jun swung the leather rope, lashing it through the air with a loud crack. Crack! Crack! The startled fool of a roe deer began to run wildly. Liang Jun sat on the roe deer sled, traversing the magnificent icy plains. In the frame, the vast icy plains stretch endlessly. The northern lights flicker dimly, stunningly beautiful. A moose sled dashes across the ice at full speed, the north wind whistling past their ears. One person and one bear on the sled board let out unrestrained shouts. Woo! Yeehaw! Hurrah! The healing scene brings immense relief to the entire internet. The audience is moved, tears welling up in their eyes. This is so stress-relieving. I suddenly feel healed. Enough said. I don't want to keep working 996 or 9 to 5 anymore. I'm quitting on the spot. I want to follow the streamer to the Arctic ice field. I want to ride that moose sled too. It's like a beautiful tourist spot. There are polar bears and moose sleds. Isn't this better than Santa's reindeer? I want to sign up too. Count me in. Does no one think the streamer's living environment is extremely harsh and tough, and his moose sled is very unsafe? I really sympathize with him. If I had to guard the ice alone, I would definitely be scared to tears. Don't say that. Don't say that. Streamer, block him quickly. Netizens are waiting for the moose sled to crash. But they are disappointed. Although the silly road deer wasn't the brightest, it had great balance on the frozen tundra. It pulled the sled with a huff and puff, without even tipping over once. Liang Jun returned steadily to base 1834 and checked the time. It had only taken 5 minutes. This was much faster than his exhausting morning trek. Indeed, human potential is limitless. With a smile on his lips, Liang Jun vigorously rubbed the furry head of the silly roe deer, which wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed. You little ones sure are capable. Pulling a sled without any teaching, truly smart. Liang Jun was a good-natured young man, and his tone was gentle. The silly roe deer seemed to understand, its long lashes blinking, even showing a hint of shyness. It was like a poor student suddenly praised by the homeroom teacher, lowering its head in embarrassment. At that moment, a familiar mechanical voice echoed in Liang Jun's mind. Arctic dwarf deer expresses trust toward you +1, affinity +10. The Arctic dwarf deer greatly likes your compliment and expresses affection towards you. Affinity +20, and entrusts the system to gift a reindeer meat gift pack. The Arctic dwarf deer asks the system to convey that dwarf deer meat is not tasty, so please eat reindeer meat instead. The sudden mechanical voice startled Liang Jun. He thought only the little white bear could activate the system's animal affinity, never expecting that a wild roe deer could too. Arctic dwarf deer? So the academic name of this silly roe deer is Arctic dwarf deer. That sounds much more reliable. Please designate a location for the deer meat gift pack. The storage room is full. The brick and tile cabin of the research base is very small, just an ordinary little base. Liang Jun had brought in so many supplies and gift packs that inadvertently the cramped storage room was already completely full. It seems necessary to organize and open up a new room. Liang Jun responded in his mind. Then put the deer meat gift pack in the fruit and vegetable cultivation greenhouse for now. The reindeer meat gift package has been placed in the fruit and vegetable cultivation greenhouse. Please check in time. Keep up the good work. With meat in hand, Liang Jun felt at ease. He didn't expect that right after the little white bear had sent a pile of fresh meat gift packages, the silly moose also delivered a batch of meat. Now his Arctic reindeer meat supplies were fully stocked. Great satisfaction. Liang Jun rubbed the moose's face, both annoyed and amused. This moose wasn't as dumb as it seemed. It actually knew it was a wild game, and even voluntarily confessed that roe deer meat wasn't tasty, especially commissioning the system to deliver reindeer meat instead. Its will to survive was truly strong. Liang Jun untied the cowhide lasso. The silly moose, not shy at all, curiously tilted its face and glanced at the base, then actually followed the little white bear into the base. Liang Jun walked into the fruit and vegetable cultivation greenhouse to check the reindeer meat gift package. The sight before him filled him with immense surprise and delight. Green shoots had actually sprouted in the fruit and vegetable cultivation greenhouse. The cultivation greenhouse was just set up yesterday. The nutrient solution is automatically sprayed according to the type of plants each day, equipped with a self-circulating water system and LED lighting. Soothing light music echoes inside the fruit and vegetable cultivation greenhouse, with humidity and temperature adjusted autonomously. The seeds, originally covered with gauze and moist, have surprisingly sprouted tiny green shoots. The green shoots are still adorned with water droplets, delicate and enchanting. The emerald green sprouts are the hope of Arctic fruits and vegetables, a giant step forward for the global Arctic scientific expedition team. Liang Jun stared closely at the green shoots, shocked by their boundless vitality. A surprise, a big surprise. His heart wild with joy. He quickly turned the live stream camera toward the sprouts and said in a trembling, cautious voice, "Folks, do you see this? This is the fruit and vegetable cultivated at base 1830 for they've already sprouted." The comment section was completely silent. Even if the netizens didn't understand the Arctic Research Base, they knew what this meant. It meant that the Eastern Arctic Research Base had the potential to produce an unlimited supply of fruits and vegetables, and that possibility was very high. It took a full 3 seconds for the viewers in the comment section to react. Their shock no less than Liang Jun's. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. The East Arctic Scientific Expedition team has always eaten frozen meat cans and raw frozen military rations. Being able to have a steaming hot pack of instant noodles was already a rare improvement in their meals. But now, Liang Jun has actually built a fruit and vegetable cultivation greenhouse at the Arctic base and successfully nurtured new sprouts. These tender, pointed sprouts can grow into vegetables that can treat the scurvy that often afflicts his teammates. They can provide tremendous assistance to the Motherland's scientific expedition team. At this moment, all the fans in the live stream room were teary-eyed. Together with Liang Jun, they carefully watched the delicate sprout tips, so excited that they covered their faces. Just then, something untimely happened. The silly roe deer, catching the scent of fresh vegetables, had its eyes gleaming. The roe deer walked into the greenhouse on its hooves, then opened its wide mouth, a typical artiodactyl, and was about to bite the sprouts. While the fans in the live stream room gasped, "This, no way. How dare you? You silly moose. Push your luck and get cheeky. You're lucky I didn't eat you. Just pull the sled properly, and you still want to steal people's vegetables?" The fans' hearts were in their throats. If looks could kill, their eyes would have stabbed that silly moose countless times. The look of wanting to stab a moose is impossible to hide. At the critical moment, Liang Jun grabbed the silly moose by the neck and yanked it back. The tender shoot that was about to go into the silly moose's mouth flew away, and its eyes bulged with the whites showing. Little thing's teeth are itchy, huh? Go outside and gnaw on your frozen grass roots, or else pull the sled for me forever. I don't know if the silly moose understood, but it actually stubbornly refused to leave. The silly moose stubbornly stayed at the entrance of base 1834, unwilling to leave. No matter how they pulled and shoved, they couldn't drive it away. The little white bear was even clinging to Liang Jun's arm, its 4 short legs gripping tightly around it, like a furry living accessory. Liang Jun walked east, the little white bear hanging on his arm, and the goofy moose also walked east. He walked west, the little white bear hanging on his arm, and the goofy moose also walked west. After all that fuss, the livestream fans were overjoyed, and Liang Jun was also tired. If you want to stick around, then stick around. Goofy moose, we've made a deal. There's no free lunch in this world. If you want all my vegetables, you'll have to pull the cart for me. As for you, little white bear, Liang Jun shook his arm. The little white bear's round eyes sparkled, revealing an expectant expression. What does it need to do? Liang Jun stared at the little creature for 2 seconds, dazed for a moment, then sighed, as if defeated. As for you, just eat, drink, and sleep. The livestream fans cheered. Their virtually raised polar bear was truly blessed it could lie flat and be a freeloader. On the Arctic ice field, the polar day and polar night alternate with each other. The so-called polar day means the sun never sets and the sky is always bright, a phenomenon also known as the midnight sun. The so-called polar night is the opposite of polar day. The sun never rises and the sky is always dark. It was now the end of February, which belongs to polar night, but in another month, at the end of March, the polar day would begin. Liang Jun looked at his watch. According to domestic time, it was now evening. He had been busy all day, finally completing the routine scientific task of collecting ice cores, as well as the work of measuring and sealing them. Now he could take a break. The endless ice field, with the northern lights hanging on the sky screen, flickering and dancing, casting gorgeous light, this was the only aurora beauty in the dead of night. Under the northern lights, a small brick and tile cottage, ordinary but cozy. Inside the cottage, Liang Jun set up a simple campfire stand and took out reindeer meat, donkey meat, and regular venison to grill over charcoal. The campfire flames flickered and danced. The little polar bear slept soundly in Liang Jun's arms, while at the door, the silly roe deer lay on the ground, tilting its head curiously. The flames licked the venison and donkey meat, producing sizzling sounds and rich oil. Liang Jun sprinkled a few pinches of salt, and the rich, savory aroma of roasted venison wafted up, spreading the scent of grilled meat. The little white bear couldn't help twitching its nose, smacking its lips in its sleep, then rolled over and woke up from craving. Liang Jun took a huge bite of the roasted venison leg, seasoned simply with salt. His mouth was full of chewy, tender and savory reindeer meat. So satisfying. So good and refreshing. Liang Jun took a bite of roasted venison, then slurped a big mouthful of instant noodles, full of happiness. The fans watched with envy, drooling with desire. They never expected that watching an Arctic exploration livestream could turn into a late-night food show. To make matters worse, even the little white bear became a food blogger. Liang Jun tore off a piece of meat for the little white bear. He thought the little white bear was a cub and couldn't chew it, but he underestimated the instinct of a greedy bear. The little white bear gnawed at the reindeer meat with its milky baby teeth, stubbornly chomping and tearing off chunks with fierce gusto. The little one chomped with a grimace, face serious, struggling with the chunk of meat as it rolled all over the ground, kicking its short legs. Liang Jun chuckled, "Folks, doesn't the little white bear look like a seal when it eats?" In the frame, the little white bear flattened its ears back to gnaw at the meat, its head bald without ears, actually looking like a wide-eyed little seal. A wave of laughter flew across the comment section. Watching Arctic eating broadcasts late at night is so healing. The little white bear's eating stream is the most stress-relieving, bringing a smile to your face. Ding! The little white bear absolutely loves your roasted reindeer meat. Like +1+1+1+1+1+1. Affinity plus 666. The little white bear is utterly satisfied and declares it loves you super much +10 and commissions the system to gift a wildlife blind box skill. A mechanical voice echoed in Liang Jun's mind, and he was momentarily startled. In the past, the little polar bear only added +1 likes. Now it can add +1+1+1+1. Definitely a greedy little polar bear, no doubt about it. A bear that can be bribed with simple, delicious food. Liang Jun chuckled to himself and responded his mind. Open the wildlife blind box skill. He was curious about what skill the little polar bear had sent through the system. The wildlife blind box skill has been opened for the host. Congratulations, host. You have obtained the bloodline suppression skill. A mysterious force surged into Liang Jun's mind, making him feel ethereal. A comforting energy flowed through his limbs and bones, leaving him utterly refreshed. Activate bloodline suppression. He instinctively activated his newly acquired skill. In an instant, the atmosphere in the entire room shifted. It was a drastic change visible to the naked eye. The silly roe deer was so startled it jumped up abruptly, then quickly buried its head in the corner of the floor, not daring to lift it again. The little white bear also sensed the change in the atmosphere. It looked up in confusion, seeing a piece of half-eaten venison hanging from its gaping mouth. Plop! It fell to the ground. The system answered the host's question. Bloodline suppression works more effectively on stronger and more savage wild animals. Stronger the enemy, stronger I become. With bloodline suppression, all beasts submit. Liang Jun quickly retracted his bloodline suppression skill, and the tense, murderous atmosphere in the air dissipated. Goodness, what a great skill! The Arctic is filled with hungry beasts, and next to it are thousand-year-old snowy mountains. Without a hunting rifle, he faced great risks every time he stepped out. Now, with beast bloodline suppression, having this skill with him made things much safer. Liang Jun felt a sense of security. The Arctic had many predatory beasts, and he had been worried about his safety. But now, even if he walked through the wilds on foot, no beast would dare approach him. So safe. Bloodline suppression is an essential skill for both home and travel. Awesome. Liang Jun rubbed the little white bear's head. Thank you very much. Little white bear squinted its eyes and rubbed affectionately against his broad palm, as if saying you're welcome. After eating and drinking his fill, Liang Jun hung the remaining roasted reindeer meat on the drying line at the entrance, then went inside and slept in his clothes. The brick and tile cabin was very small, and the kitchen area was even more cramped. There was no suitable place to put the leftover roasted reindeer meat, so he had to hang it on the drying line. Before falling asleep, Liang Jun pondered in his mind. The Arctic Research Station 1834 was too small. He had more and more equipment. The measurement room for drilling ice cores was not spacious enough, and the fruit and vegetable greenhouse was even more cramped. He needed to expand the research station sometime. If he could double the area of the station, it would be absolutely wonderful. Liang Jun drifted off in his sweet dreams. In his dream, he owned a larger research house, a 2-story flat. He used one entire floor to grow vegetables and fruits and store frozen meat, while the other floor served as a living space. Drying ropes were hung with all kinds of cured meat the north wind blew in, making the meat sway pure protein. Just thinking about it in the dream made him laugh. The next day, Liang Jun, still groggy-eyed, said to his fans, "Morning." But the fans urgently told him, "Your meat was stolen. Streamer, your meat is gone. The meat you hung up was stolen right out of your home." Liang Yun stared at his empty sleeping bag. His first thought was that the little white bear had stolen and eaten the dried deer meat. He quickly jumped up with a start and rushed out of the bedroom. In the main hall of the brick and tile cottage, the deer meat on the drying rope had fallen all over the place. The culprit was still hanging on the rope, gnawing at the meat with bare teeth. Two white blobs, one hanging from the drying rope, and one on the ground barking ferociously. Liang Jun wasn't fully awake yet. He was dumbfounded and rubbed his sleepy eyes. How had the little white bear become two? He looked closely and realized there was a little white bear standing on the ground, barking nervously. The little white bear was tense and alert, trying hard to puff up and open its mouth wide, roaring with the ferocity of two polar bears. Ayo, the white ball hanging on the clothesline, seemed to be a different kind of animal. The white ball on the clothesline appeared to have its teeth stuck in the frozen venison. Spotting Liang Jun, it panicked and tried to come down, kicking its legs back and forth but couldn't get free. Damn it, its teeth were caught on the frozen meat, and it couldn't get down. Before Liang Jun could figure it out, the fans in the live stream chat began tattling. "It's that dog. That husky did it. No, that's a Samoyed. It must be a sled dog from some Eskimo village." In the Arctic, there are Eskimo villagers and genuine Inuit people. Though few in number, they do keep Arctic Eskimo dogs. Liang Jun's first reaction was the same as the fans. He thought a white Eskimo dog had sneaked into the hall. Liang Jun stepped forward and grabbed the white dog by the scruff of its neck. He pinched the scruff of the white dog's neck, forcing its mouth open, then forcibly removed it from the clothesline. The white dog was very light. Its second and third deciduous incisors and deciduous canines had just been replaced. It looked to be only 5 months old. He carefully examined the white dog's tail and body shape, his expression turning serious. This is not a dog. It's more like, at that moment, a mechanical voice sounded in his mind, confirming his guess. The Arctic snow wolf cub is very angry and has commissioned the system to tell you, "If you pinch my scruff, I'll steal your home." Liang Jun was both annoyed and amused. So it really is an Arctic snow wolf. He had already guessed it was a wolf cub, but a wolf with all white fur could only be an Arctic snow wolf, a Class 2 endangered protected animal. There are only 7,821 left in the world, making it an extremely rare international endangered wild animal. He never expected that while guarding the ice at the Arctic Research Base, he would actually catch a rare Class 2 endangered animal alive. This was just too coincidental, and it was a Class 2 endangered animal that literally threw itself into his net a stroke of incredible luck. Liang Jun ignored the snow wolf cub's threat and tightened his grip on the scruff of its neck. With one hand holding the cub's scruff, he opened the wildlife medical kit with the other. "Come here, little one. Let Uncle take a blood sample to check your health, then I'll let you go." Liang Jun grinned like a creepy uncle trying to lure a child. He held the needle with a smile as he slowly approached. The snow wolf cub's eyes widened in shock, its earlier arrogance completely gone. The needle tip glinted with a cold light, clearly not a good sign. After drawing a syringe of blood, the snow wolf cub dared not make a sound. Liang Jun placed the snow wolf cub's blood sample into the medical device for analysis. Rows of blood test results came out, along with precious genetic samples of the Arctic snow wolf. As usual, Liang Jun uploaded the sample data and stored the reagent with the genetic blood in the sample freezer. Serum protein analysis. Computer data, upload. Eastern Academy of Social Sciences received the data. Point-to-point data, transmission successful. Liang Jun pressed the enter key, turned his head, and carefully observed the snow wolf pup in his hand. The snow wolf pup bared its newly replaced teeth in a fierce snarl, threatening with all its might. "How dare you grab me by the scruff? Just wait, I'll steal your home." The livestream comments were in stitches. "Streamer, my dog says that white dog in your hand is cursing up a storm, and it's really foul language. Haha, that's the definition of fierce in a cute way." Has anyone noticed that the streamer is holding the dog by the scruff with his left hand and pressing down the little white bear with his right? What would happen if he let the little white bear go? Didn't you see the little white bear baring its teeth? If the streamer let go, the little white bear would definitely tear that dog apart. This little white bear is a real ride, or die it really steps up when there's trouble. Liang Jun firmly pressed down the restless little white bear with his right hand otherwise. Before he could finish the test, the little white bear would immediately tangle with the snow wolf pup. Although the little white bear is young, it's no small size. The polar bear cub is large with thick fur and solid muscle, belonging to the bear family with a wild temperament. Both snow wolves and gray wolves are roughly the same size. Although this snow wolf cub is 5 months old, it might not necessarily win in a fight against the little white bear. Liang Jun held one tiny creature in each hand and smiled wryly at the camera. This one isn't a dog, it should be a snow wolf cub that got separated from its pack. As soon as he finished speaking, the snow wolf cub sent waves surging through the live stream room. A snow wolf? A Class 2 endangered animal. The snow wolf? An internationally endangered red list species, an extremely rare Arctic snow wolf. The whole live stream room erupted. Thousands of miles away, the editor-in-chief of National Geographic magazine was also watching Liang Jun's live stream. Upon seeing the live stream footage, the editor-in-chief of National Geographic magazine immediately stood up, his expression excited and unable to calm down for a long time. This is a wild snow wolf cub. National Geographic magazine enjoys a global reputation, symbolizing authority, scientific rigor, and quasi-official status. It's more like an encyclopedia than just a magazine. Now, the editor-in-chief of National Geographic magazine stood up in excitement and quickly sent Liang Jun a private message. Dear esteemed streamer, would you do us the honor of capturing a set of precious wild snow wolf photographs for our magazine? Generous compensation awaits. The editor-in-chief, after sending this private message, felt a surge of excitement, his expression filled with eager anticipation. Photographs of wild Arctic snow wolves. He could already envision the immense attention these photos would attract, elevating his magazine to new heights. What he didn't know was that Liang Jun wasn't checking his private messages, because his live stream's inbox was already overflowing. His follower count had reached 800. So many fans had messaged him that unread messages piled up beyond reply. 99 plus unread messages. This happened every day. Ding, 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 the private message notifications kept coming. Liang Jun, as if he hadn't heard them, held the snow wolf pup by the scruff of its neck and continued smiling at the camera. This little one is quite wild. I'll release it in a moment, then follow the daily schedule and start the morning flag raising ceremony as usual. It ate a piece of my reindeer meat. I took a tube of its blood for testing fair trade. All settled. The private message notifications kept pinging in the background as Liang Jun chatted and laughed, unfazed. The editor-in-chief of National Geographic was extremely anxious. He scratched his head and fidgeted, wondering if Liang Jun hadn't seen the private message. If he really let the wild snow wolf go, what would happen to the Arctic snow wolf photos he had been looking forward to? What to do? Was there any way to contact Liang Jun? Any way at all? The editor-in-chief of the world's most prestigious international magazine was so frantic and anxious that he pulled out his hair just to get Liang Jun to reply to him in the live stream. Liang Jun released the snow wolf cub. He checked the window frame and found that the cub had lifted the window from the bottom with its head and squeezed in through the gap. Now the north wind was blowing into the room, making the whole place several degrees colder. What naughty one. Go on out. Don't come back again. Liang Jun decisively placed the snow wolf cub at the door and let it leave on its own. The editor-in-chief of National Geographic saw this scene and was heartbroken beyond control. He hadn't expected that Liang Jun would actually let it go just like that, without even taking a single photo. Fans in the comments section cried out in pain, even calling Liang Jun's actions discrimination. Liang Jun carried the polar bear into the house like a pillow, but surprisingly set the Arctic wolf free. Too biased. Liang Jun laughed heartily, exhaling white puffs of breath. Folks, did you see the satellite tracking collar on that snow wolf's neck just now? This is an adjustable length collar, which automatically adjusts its tightness as the snow wolf grows, fitting it perfectly. Snow wolves live in packs. Unlike polar bears, in the Arctic where food is scarce, Arctic wolves follow their prey across areas exceeding 2,600 square kilometers to hunt. The fans were momentarily stunned. Indeed, Liang Jun had put a satellite tracking collar on the snow wolf. It turned out that releasing the snow wolf was also part of the Arctic Scientific Expedition project to record Arctic animal ecology. Liang Jun opened his logbook to add a note. Today, I began recording the Arctic activities of a snow wolf for tracking research. According to the data from satellite tracking collars, the temperature in the dark Arctic winter can drop to minus 70 degrees Celsius. In such harsh conditions, wolf packs travel hundreds of miles searching for food, moving from place to place. We hope to understand how Arctic wolves survive the extreme cold of winter, how far they must travel to obtain enough food to sustain them until the arrival of the Arctic spring. The small electric heater rotates, warming the cabin. The little white bear lies on Liang Jun's lap. Inside the cabin is Liang Jun. The sound of writing in a journal schwa schwa. Quiet and beautiful. The fans fall silent, gazing at the peaceful Arctic cabin, their minds restored to tranquility and harmony. This is a day in the life of an Arctic ice watching researcher, a very ordinary day. Everything is filled with quiet and warmth. So healing. Liang Jun finishes his journal entry, puts down the notebook, and begins the flag-raising ceremony. The red flag slowly rises, flapping in the north wind. The atmosphere at Arctic East Expedition Team, Base 1834, is solemn. After the flag-raising ceremony, Liang Jun prepared to start the day's scientific expedition. He turned around and was stunned. At the doorway of the brick and tile hut, a white snow wolf cub sat upright, staring at him with a righteous expression. Liang Jun was both annoyed and amused. Still sticking to me? Get back to your pack, or your parents will think I'm luring you away, and they'll tear my hut apart. Liang Jun scolded twice and shooed the snow wolf cub away. The snow wolf cub looked unconvinced. It grumpily took a few steps, looking back every now and then, before disappearing into the howling snowy landscape. The livestream fans felt a deep sense of loss. They knew snow wolves belonged to the Arctic wilderness, but they still wished they could see it every day. Streamer, when will the snow wolf come back? We really want to see the big wolf wreck your house. I won't leave the stream until I see the second half of the snow wolf story. The snow wolf will definitely come back. It's got to wreck the streamer's house. Seeing the fans reluctant to let the wolf go, Liang Jun could only open another logbook. He pulled up notes left by his previous expedition teammates from the computer. Everyone, recording the survival trajectories of Arctic animals, is also part of Arctic scientific research. Our Base 1834 also coincidentally encountered a pack of Arctic wolves a few years ago. 3 years ago, one of my teammates tracked a snow wolf named Prussia. From a movement trajectory map of this Arctic wolf, it can be seen that on the route from Ellesmere Island to Axel Heiberg Island, this wolf followed the pack through a journey of 80 miles, approximately 1,287 kilometers, and then returned along the same route, with a total round-trip time of 84 hours. In the bitter cold winter, animals that hibernate sleep comfortably, but Arctic wolves keep traveling back and forth over long distances to obtain food, making journeys far and wide. The abundance of professional terminology impressed the fans. They never imagined that snow wolves could travel so far for survival. The fans were greatly shocked, but Liang Jun narrowed his eyes, his brows furrowed in a rare frown. Wait, why is the movement trajectory of the snow wolf Prussia 3 years ago so different from last year's trajectory? The atmosphere froze, and tension filled the air. The fans' hearts were also lifted, tense with anxiety. Liang Jun frowned, pulling up the historical survival trajectory of the snow wolf Prussia, his tone growing increasingly serious. 3 years ago, the snow wolf Prussia made a round trip of 84 hours, covering 1,287 kilometers, returning along the same route. In the first half of last year, this snow wolf took 140 hours for a round trip, covering 274 kilometers before returning. In the second half of last year, this snow wolf made a round trip of 270 hours, covering 539 kilometers. This year's data is... The fans held their breath, staring intently at Liang Jun on the screen. This year's data is 0. The comments section went dead silent. The fans were shocked. 0? How could it be 0? The year before last, it ran so much last year. It doubled this year, it's 0? Liang Jun's tone was stern, and his expression was extremely grave. This snow wolf named Prussia is likely dead. The fans were greatly alarmed. The Arctic snow wolf recorded by the Scientific Research Base had actually died? What was the cause of death? Liang Jun let out a sigh. Glaciers are melting, sea levels are rising, land is shrinking, and food is becoming increasingly scarce. Arctic temperatures are rising year by year, glaciers are melting, land is shrinking, animals are migrating in mass, and the environment is deteriorating day by day. This environmental pressure is squeezing the living space of snow wolves. The fans felt very distressed. What could they change? Liang Jun shifted the topic and said in a cheerful tone, as long as they follow the migrating reindeer herds, the wild snow wolves won't starve to death. Wild animals have their own survival rules. Why are we worried? Today we need to expand and reinforce our base, otherwise I'll freeze to death in the Arctic before the snow wolves starve. He pointed to the dilapidated brick and tile hut, which was swaying precariously in the bitter north wind. Only then did the fans feel reassured. They would definitely see the snow wolf cub again. Absolutely. Today, Liang Jun's task was to expand the brick and tile hut. Holding the little white bear, he sketched out several expansion plans. Someone also suggested that he learn from the Eskimos how to build a snow igloo with bare hands. Liang Jun drew a model of the expanded house and said, "The ice house is fine as a temporary living space, but we have a lot of scientific equipment that runs at high temperatures which could melt the ice and risk damaging the gear." Someone also suggested he simply build a wooden house, a low, rustic four-style cabin. Liang Jun stepped outside into the icy wilderness and pointed at a massive tree. The Arctic has only one type of tree, and it's a willow. You want me to cut down a willow to make a wooden house? The camera zoomed in on a giant tree. Fans were stunned by a tree the size of a fingertip. So tiny, only 5 centimeters tall, practically hugging the ground. He called that a tree a 3-centimeter tall, towering giant. Fans were dumbfounded. Liang Jun burst out laughing. This is the Arctic willow, the shortest tree in the world. But no matter how tiny the Arctic willow is, it is indeed a tree. With leaves and a trunk, its roots grow horizontally in the surface soil, stretching over 10 centimeters long. Drooping willow branches can also bloom, and when the flowers wither, the willow catkins drift away. All plants and flowers in the Arctic grow close to the ground, short and tiny, less than a foot tall. Arctic willow that emerges more than 3 centimeters above the ground is considered a towering tree. The fans became even more interested after hearing these strange facts. Everything in the Arctic was extremely novel to them, even in Arctic. Big tree was enough to keep them amazed for a long time. Another piece of strange and useless knowledge added. I just like exploring the Arctic with the streamer, as if I had been there myself. The streamer is a walking encyclopedia, knows everything. Liang Jun changed from his cheerful expression to a serious and solemn demeanor. All right, little white, today we need to clear out the mud from the warehouse, expand and build a brick and tile cottage. The little white bear excitedly stood up on its short hind legs and let out a happy chirp. Ayo, the fans were all amused by the little white bear. The streamer is expanding the cottage, and a baby polar bear can actually help. But what they didn't expect was that the polar bear could actually help, and it was a huge help. Liang Jun dug out the lust piled up in the warehouse. This was the old stockpile of the Scientific Research Base. It was highly cohesive lust, also called chi and I. He mixed the lust with Arctic permafrost, leaving behind pure, fine powdered clay. Breathing out frosty air, Liang Jun poured hot water onto the pile of earth. The hot water quickly turned into freezing water. He quickly pulled the little white bear and the silly roe deer up to trample back and forth repeatedly. The little white bear stomped happily, and together with the silly roe deer, they trampled the mud until it was very soft. Liang Jun then took a lump of clay in both hands and slammed it hard into a mold. The mold had 2 compartments. He used a bowstring to cut along the surface of the brick mold, then lifted the mold, turned it upside down onto a flat ground dusted with plant ash, and gently lifted the mold. The brick making was complete. Next came building the brick kiln. He cleaned out the old brick kiln, clearing a semicircle about 1 zhong 5 chi high, about 5 meters. Then, using adobe bricks, he built a cylindrical kiln with a diameter of 3 meters. The bottom had a furnace trough and a fire mouth. After the kiln firing and soaking, each brick was finished. Tapping the bricks produced a crisp sound. With a clanging sound, Liang Jun looked at the hard-won bricks, feeling full and very satisfied. The fans also showed satisfied smiles. Self-reliance ensures abundance. Being able to fire bricks in the Arctic is simply a miracle. Liang Jun began to use the bricks to expand the brick cottage. He ground limestone, clay, and coal, added water, stirred, and chatted to the camera. He used all the skills he had learned playing house in his rural hometown as a child. With these materials, he could quickly make cement in the wild. He mixed the limestone, clay, and coal together and began to expand the cottage layer by layer with bricks and cement. The fans watched intently, unable to look away. This isn't Arctic scientific research, it's Arctic survival. They actually saw someone building a house in the Arctic. It's a miracle in the history of human survival. Liang Jun began to expand the cottage. The original research team's brick and tile houses were rearranged. He left a central ice and snow courtyard and built a set of brick and tile houses on the east, south, and west sides. The 4 houses enclosed the courtyard in the middle, forming a square shape. A few days later, the houses in the scene took on a square layout, protecting the courtyard securely inside. The courtyard was peaceful and serene, with the north wind unable to blow in. Fans in the comments section exclaimed that it looked familiar. Such a familiar house structure, how could it resemble? The answer was almost ready to burst out in the comment section. The editor-in-chief of National Geographic hadn't left, yet he still clung to the hope of seeing Liang Jun photograph wild snow wolves. A peculiar house structure stunned the editor-in-chief of National Geographic. Oh my gosh, what kind of house shape is this? The house Liang Jun expanded was neither an Arctic-style igloo nor the wooden cabins commonly used in Western expeditions. Instead, it was a neat square-shaped structure in the form of a square. The foreign editor-in-chief was dumbfounded. Liang Jun picked up the little white bear and placed it into the courtyard that blocked the wind. The bitter Arctic wind howls fiercely. Never before has there been an outdoor place that was windproof, but now Liang Jun's small courtyard house has achieved it. The courtyard is windproof, warm, and quiet. The little white bear excitedly trots around the windproof courtyard, trying to nibble at the feet of the silly moose. The silly moose is also excited. It has been accustomed to the cold wind since it was young, but now that it has come to Liang Jun's Arctic base, there are green leaves and a windproof courtyard. So comfortable, Liang Jun said to the camera. This is a simple version of a small courtyard house. I am far away in the Arctic, and I often feel homesick, so I built a uniquely styled Easter house. Seeing the houses at our base reminds me of home. The drone pulls the camera back. The northern scenery is vast and boundless. The ice field is crystal clear. The aurora borealis flickers across the sky. A 4-sided courtyard house with bricks and tiles, imbued with unique Eastern charm, stands on the vast frozen ground. Inside the brick and tile house, a warm stove rises, so beautiful that one cannot look away. This is the Arctic's unique courtyard house, the new base of Arctic Scientific Expedition number 1834. The livestream fans were so excited they stood up, their eyes sparkling, expressions filled with intoxication and longing. So beautiful, so beautiful, so beautiful. The base cabin in a foreign land with a red flag fluttering, carrying a uniquely Eastern beauty, healing and stress relieving. The fans cheered with delight, and more viewers stayed in the stream. It actually broke 1,000 people. Liang Jun hadn't expected that just by building an extension to the cabin, so many netizens would love watching it, and they'd stare at it for a whole day without blinking. Liang Jun laughed and said, "So many people are watching me just build a house, that if I sat by the edge of the Arctic Ocean and fished, wouldn't the crowd explode?" The fans got even more excited. What? The streamer not only knows how to build houses, but also fishes on the floating ice of the Arctic Ocean? They absolutely had to cheer and boost the popularity. At the same time, the editor-in-chief of National Geographic found relevant reference images of the courtyard house. The Western editor-in-chief was deeply shocked. The Eastern courtyard house is square in shape and very symmetrical, embodying the concept of round heaven and square earth. He lifted his face in astonishment. Oh my God! The square heaven and round earth structure perfectly blocks the raging north wind, while the central courtyard of the Sahiwin provides a safe outdoor sampling environment. No north wind, no blizzard. It's absolutely an ideal natural model for building an Arctic base. The Western scholars looked stunned and even more reverent. They never expected the wisdom of the ancient Eastern people to be so profound, and that it would be brought to the Arctic Research Base by their Eastern descendants. The Easter number 1834 Arctic Research Base is definitely the most scientifically structured research base. Liang Jun gazed at the neat brick and tile Sihiyuan, a sense of achievement swelling in his heart. This was the unique Sihiyuan of the Easter number 1834 base. This was the new house he had built over several days and nights. Bright and spacious. The little white bear happily rolled around in the middle of the courtyard, covering itself in white snow. The little creature frolicked excitedly in the snow. The courtyard was windproof and protected against blizzards, and the tall brick and tile houses surrounding it gave a great sense of security. Ding! The little white bear super loves the house you built, giving you +1 +1 +1 +1 +1 likes. Affinity plus 666. Little white bear, fully satisfied, expresses extreme love for you +10 and entrusts the system to gift a high-quality carpet, 2 tons of anthracite, and a power reserve unit. Please designate a storage room for the host to receive the gifts. Little white bear expresses affection. Liang Jun burst out laughing. He knew the little guy would love it, and unexpectedly, little white bear even sent a surprise gift package. He responded in his mind. Let the West Wing room serve as the new storage room. Liang Jun expanded the base, tripling the size of the vegetable and fruit cultivation greenhouse, and also gained a very spacious warehouse and a larger, more comfortable bedroom. He converted the East Wing room into a spacious bedroom and kitchen and built a heated kong. The anthracite burns beneath the heated kong. Using a return flue design, the fire from the kitchen stove's large pot flows through pipes into the earthen kong, circulates inside it, and then exits the room through the chimney in the kitchen. The Arctic base is too cold sleeping on the large heated kong at night. The kong surface is really hot. Liang Jun lay comfortably on the heated kong, saving even the need for a sleeping bag. Brothers, this bed is so hot. I'm about to get heat stroke. After saying that, Liang Jun scooped a cup of clean snow mixed with sugar, chewed it, and lay on the warm kong to eat ice slush. The livestream fans watched with delight sparkling in their eyes. Oh my God, is this the joy of the Arctic? Outside it's freezing and snowy, but the streamer is lying on a warm kong eating ice slush. So chill. Watching this makes me want to travel and explore the Arctic too. I'm asking the streamer to launch a package deal for an Arctic tour, $888. More and more netizens flooded into the live stream, and its popularity kept rising. Drawn by the name Arctic Livestream, even a former researcher from the Antarctic expedition team joined. The moment the former Antarctic expedition researcher entered the live stream, he froze. Is this the Arctic expedition base? A spacious and neat courtyard-style base design, a toasty warm kong, a lush vegetable and fruit greenhouse, and what's more, the Arctic expedition base even allows pets. In the frame, Liang Jun was recording expedition logs while petting the little white bear in his arms. The little white bear squinted its eyes in great enjoyment, tilting its furry head. If you didn't look closely, you'd think it was a big fluffy cat. A former Antarctic expedition member. Oh well. TSK. The Antarctic expedition environment is harsh and severe, but now at the opposite end of the Blue Star, the Arctic Research Base is living in abundance. Both are research teams. How can the conditions be so vastly different? The former Antarctic expedition member was so envious he could cry. If only his Antarctic base back then had the conditions of Arctic Base 1834, he would never have retired even if it killed him. In the live stream, Liang Jun finally finished recording his expedition log. He put down the logbook, looked up at the frozen meat hanging on the drying line in the kitchen, and fell into deep thought. He allowed a heavy sigh of regret. Should we have roasted reindeer meat for tonight's late-night snack? I'm a bit tired of it. The former Antarctic expedition member in front of the screen was shocked. What did he just hear? Someone could actually get tired of roasted meat? This is such precious and rare protein in extreme climates. When he was on an Antarctic expedition, all he had were frozen steamed buns and frozen potatoes, enough to break his teeth. Yet Liang Jun actually complained that roasted venison was getting boring. Well, same polar expedition, but the joys and sorrows of the Antarctic and Arctic are not the same. The former Antarctic expedition members were moved to tears with envy. At night, Liang Jun lay on the warm kong, playing with his phone. He connected his phone to the satellite wireless signal, then hugged the little white bear in his arms and started playing on his phone.